Alrighty, hello everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar for Microsoft Copilot Interactive Experience for executives. Today we have an awesome session planned for you, delivered by our amazing trainer, Will Berkeley. He's our subject matter expert and will give some great insight on how to be more efficient with Copilot for yourselves and your organizations. A couple of quick housekeeping items I wanted to mention before we get started today. We do have a follow-up session that will be great to attend if you attend this one on November 24th. That will also be focused around Copilot, diving a little deeper into some of the capabilities that we'll talk through today. So feel free to join that. The link will be sent out after the training, as well as the recording for today's session and the content. We'll talk through some promotions and some EnterOne specific actions that we have going on right now to enhance your Copilot experience beyond just a webinar as well, with some pertinent contact information for you. So keep an eye out for that. One last thing too, a couple other little housekeeping items. We do want to make sure today's time is maximized with the Copilot content, but we want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to ask questions. So if you can please direct your questions to the Q&A, we'll be sure to answer those as quickly as possible. And if your question is not got to, we will follow up with you directly via email to make sure that those are all answered and everyone has what they need. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Will and get things started. Thank you, everybody, for attending today.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Microsoft 365 Copilot. My name is Will Berkeley, and I'll be doing some demonstrations and information for you. I'm here with Saxton Barnes, who will also be giving us some information about Copilot and Copilot classes. So we're here and we're also going to talk about how EnterOne can help you and your team learn these new features in Microsoft 365 and become more efficient in your work. That's our goal today. So we have three things overall to cover today. Just a basic introduction on what Copilot is, also learning about creating good prompts for Copilot to follow, and demonstrating Copilot in action to create new content in various different apps in the Microsoft 365 suite. Along with that, we also want to talk a little bit about building Copilot agents and what they are and why they are useful. So let's first off talk about what Copilot is, just the basic understanding of what this new application is all about. So Microsoft Copilot empowers you to achieve more. That's what they always say. It's easy to say that, but it doesn't really say very much. So let's flesh that out a little bit. Copilot is going to help you do a variety of your daily tasks to more quickly and efficiently complete those. For example, it'll help you streamline checking and answering your emails. It'll help you resolve customer issues more quickly, and many other things that you do on just a daily basis. But in addition to that, those general things that Copilot can do, it can also be customized to particular roles in your organization. So it can empower your developers to focus on more fulfilling the work more quickly and coding faster. It'll also help train your security operations team to resolve threats much more quickly. So generally, it accelerates your work and reduces the time it takes for you to complete the workflows that you do, whether it be general things like email or more specifically to your particular occupation and position in your company. Copilot 365 isn't just a better way of doing the same things. It's actually an entirely new way of working. Now, this can seem a little bit confusing, but really it's pretty straightforward. Copilot starts with a large language model, huge amounts of information to sift through that content and answer your questions more easily. Now, you could do all that yourself. You could take that monumental amount of information and sift through it for yourself, your documents, your emails, your calendar, the chats that you've done, your meeting notes, and so forth. But rather than you having to sift through all of it, Copilot can answer your questions to deliver accurate and relevant and contextual responses to your prompts, your questions. That's what prompts are. Simply you asking Copilot questions about the particular content, whether it be general content out on the web or particular content in your company. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 works right along with you and is already embedded in many of the apps that you use every day. It's in Word and Excel and PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and a lot of other apps that are part of the Microsoft 365 suite. So as you're working in those apps that you're used to using, that you're familiar with, Copilot will help make suggestions, or if you'd rather just do it yourself, it'll just stay out of your way. A large language model does not only sift through the data, it can actually produce entirely new content. So when applied to text, a large language model and Copilot can generate contextually relevant and correct responses, again, based on the prompts that you entered, based on the questions that you ask Copilot. So in the content or in the context of Copilot for Microsoft 365, the large language models will drive Copilot's capabilities. Copilot helps you navigate your work more effectively while ensuring privacy and data integrity. Now let's talk about some of the key concepts of agents and how they work with Copilot. There are times that you might talk with a coworker or somebody who's on your team who's working for you, an employee in your group, or someone else to get information that they have. I mean, we're not omniscient. We need help from other people. So you're depending on them and their expertise to help you find out the information that you need or to make a decision. That's how working in a team works. You ask other people, you get their input, you use their expertise. That's what working in a team is. So now we have another team member. We have Copilot. So we can have a chat, a conversation with Copilot. So Copilot will gather that information from its general storehouse of information, that large language model, to whittle down all the information to answer your question, your prompt. Or you can create an agent that is simply a compilation of specific data that you want Copilot to use. Rather than using the entire internet that's out there for the public to use, you can tell Copilot and an agent to specifically look in this particular data, these particular files, this content, all the things related to that particular project that we finished last year. So agents augment Copilot by adding skills and particular knowledge. You can have multiple agents as well, each one with specific information. Essentially, you're creating your own custom experts with particular knowledge of specific information that you give it. And then you can also, you can specify whether it's only going to be internal content within your company or broaden it to include more generalized information that's out there on the internet. So by narrowing down what an agent is looking at, you'll get more direct answers to your questions and your prompts. Now, I know there's always a concern today about who has access to my data. I mean, what exactly am I letting myself into? That's always in the back of our mind. And in an agent, this might be a bigger concern because you're actually pointing the agent at times to particular internal content specific to your company. It's a valid concern, but your data is still your data. It is not going to be floating out on the internet for everybody to access. When you create an agent and point it to your particular data, that's where it stays. It stays with that agent. Your data is not being used in other agents, your data is not being used in general Copilot use, and your data is not being used to train or enrich the foundational AI models that other people are using without your permission. So in any situation or conversation with a subordinate, you need to ask the right questions to get the right answers. So it's the same way with Copilot. You want to be able to tell it what you want to know. You want to make sure that you ask the right questions. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I've been in meetings sometimes and somebody asked a question and I gave what I thought was a really good answer, and I realized I hadn't really understood the question in the first place. So I gave the right answer to the wrong question. That happens sometimes. So as we're using Copilot, we might not necessarily know exactly what our question is, and so we can refine it as we go along. Copilot will give us an answer. It's not going to stop and say, what are you talking about, buddy? It's going to give us a good answer for the question that we asked, and then we can adjust the question as we see what the responses are. So let's get started and see um, uh, 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 let's get started with Copilot prompts and see how that works. So as I said before, just like asking anyone else a question, the better your question, the better and more accurate the response will be. Same thing with Copilot. So you want to consider what your overall goal is. If you have specific content or context, you want to make sure that you include that in your prompt, in your question. Or if you have particular source material that you want Copilot to focus on, you can do that. Or if you have particular expectations, maybe the way that you're going to be, that you want Copilot to format the data. Maybe you want it in a paragraph format or a table of data or an outline or such as that. So Copilot is pretty imaginative about this. You can even tell Copilot what style of writing you want. Do you want it to have a friendly tone? Do you want it to be angry? Hopefully you won't use that very often, but it is possible. If you want to have it in an advertising style, you can even have Copilot make up a poem if it's something for advertising, or use alliteration. So we can put all of that together either at one time or in stages, and Copilot will know what you want, what you don't want, and how you want it to display. And if you don't like the results at first, you can build on that first prompt by giving more specific instructions as you go, or you can just say, forget it, let's just start all over, and we can start again from scratch. So let me go ahead and do some demonstrations here. This demonstration is going to be on some general content initially, and then we'll kind of drill down as we go along. So let me get out of this presentation, and I'm logged into my Microsoft 365 account right now, and I'm on the home page for Microsoft 365. Actually, nowadays, the home page for Microsoft 365 is Copilot. Copilot is the homepage. There isn't just a general homepage with your apps sitting there with the little tiles with the apps. Copilot is ready to be used right from the get-go. So you can either log into just the general, Microsoft 365 login screen, or your company might have a specific login screen, and assuming Copilot's enabled, then you'll have those various prompts. So Copilot is asking, how can I help? We've got a little prompt box there for us to type in something. So let me go ahead and get started. Let's say I'm in a training environment that I work in. So I want to try to work on some information and get some information from Copilot about that. So now just bear in mind, I used to actually teach a typing class, but it's been about 87 years. So my typing isn't the best, but this is live, so we'll just go with it. But let's say I wanted to do something like this. I want to say, I'm going to ask Copilot, can you help me? Oh boy, this is great. Identify gaps in the, let's see, corporate training. Let's see. I've never tried having Copilot figure out my bad typing, but we'll just stick with the good typing if we can. I don't know what it does with typos. Okay, so the corporate training industry. Okay, and let me think as I go along. It's like could be potential opportunities. All right, potential. Fix that. It knows that it's typed wrong, but potential. It's still okay. Let's do this. This was. Come on, potential. Thank you, Copilot. Opportunities. I have this written down, so I'm kind of going with it, kind of little notes here. For a new product or a company, okay? For a new product or company. All right. And I'll throw in a little bit more. The better your first prompt, I mean, not that it has to be the first prompt, but the better your prompt, the better answers you're going to get from Copilot. If you're not really sure what you're looking for, well, it's going to give you some vague information. So if you can be a little bit more specific, so much the better. All right. So I'm looking for typing class. We'll cut that out. How about underserved areas or emerging trends? That we could capitalize on. All right, that's pretty good. I like it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get Copilot to get me started on that. It's thinking. That's a little button, a little indicator that it's thinking. And in just about that amount of time, a couple of blinks of your eye, and we've got this. All right, so I'm scrolling down. We've got some emerging trends here. We've got some bulleted items fleshed out a bit. That's not too bad. Gamification. Oh boy, that's a big thing nowadays. That's an emerging trend for sure. Dealing with power skills, dealing with hybrid. Boy, I like this. Boy, I'm liking this a lot. Now, if it wasn't something that I wanted, I could continue asking about it. All right. But I think I'm going to just stick with that. So I'm going to go back to the top here. And I'm simply going to grab all of this. Come back up here. There's a little bit more information there. I'm going to copy this into the clipboard, and I'm going to go ahead and start a Word document. Now I could do it. I could do Word, the desktop Word, but I want to make sure that I save it in Word Online, that I save it in OneDrive or some other cloud service, because that's how Copilot is going to be able to get access to it and continue refining it for us. So here I am in Word, and I'm pasting this all in. All right. And so there I have, looks like about 3 pages of initial content on emerging trends in corporate training. Not bad at all, not a bad start. So let me go ahead and save this. Document 10 doesn't really do much for me. So I'm going to go ahead and call it, I'll call it Copilot Research. How about training research? Very good. Okay, so this is being saved in OneDrive. And so now I'm going to explore this a little bit further. All right. So I'm coming back. I can come down to the bottom of this. All right. And you'll see there's a little prompt right here in the Word file. So I can click on this and say, okay, what else do I want to do? All right. And I'd like to explore, let's see here, the corporate training sector. Okay, who are, let's see, that's like, how about this? Maybe instead of that, it's like, what are some of the methods? How about that? Training methods. I'm going to add that to this. Okay, so it gave me a little paragraph there. Okay, I'm like that. I'm keeping that in the same Word document. Now I could have gone back. I could have gone back to Copilot right here online and kept doing that and then pasted it into Word. But by just having the Word document open at the beginning, I'll just keep it that way. Now, if I didn't like this, I wouldn't have to keep it. I could ask another question. But I think I do like this. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it. And it becomes part of my document. I now have about 4 pages worth of content. Not bad at all. That's not a bad start. So I have that copied into the document now. By the way, if you're doing this on the, just as a little bit of instruction here, if you're doing it on the Copilot page side, all right, and you paste it into Word Online, it gives you a slightly different response to the styles that Copilot used as opposed to pasting it into the desktop Word. So the recommendation, at least for starters, is to use the Word Online application because it'll pick up those styles that Copilot used. Or, as you saw me do, I can just stay in Word. I'm in Word Online, but I'm just going to stay here as I continue going forward. All right, I'm going to jump back here for a moment though, because I want you to note that up at the very top, whether I'm scrolled down or further at the top, there are these two buttons, work or web, work or web. All right, if I'm on the web side, all right, then I'm going to be picking up information. Copilot is going to be picking up information that's available on the web. All right. If I go over to the work side, then I would be using things that are only internal within my company. Things, of course, that Copilot has access to, things, of course, that I have access to. So there might be a whole, there might be SharePoint sites or other things that I personally, as an employee, do not have access to. Therefore, my use of Copilot will not access those either. So I have my choice on how that's going to be used. But I'm going to stay here in Word Online for a moment. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to draft a concept of this. I want to start to create this as a, go a little bit further with this. And so I'm going to go back to, well, before I go back, I'm going to go ahead and grab the link for this Word document because I'm going to make use of it. So I'm going to copy that link into the clipboard. Yeah, I'm going to allow it. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's copied into my clipboard now. I'm coming back to Copilot again. You'll forgive my typing here. I want it to draft a concept. Okay, for our new company. Okay, referencing that file. I'm just going to paste that link in right there. It picks it up. That's the name of the file that I've created, the Copilot Training Research. All right, and I wanted to include our mission, vision. Let's see here, core values, offerings, things that you would do when you were, had that right a second ago, when you're creating a company. Who's the target audience? And maybe figure out if we can get a unique market edge. If I can spell unique. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. So Copilot's thinking that over, looking at what I want, looking at that data, but also outside, all right? And so it comes up with this, all right? So we have a mission now, just created a mission, all right? We also have a little company, Copilot Training Solutions. It just made that up on the fly. Now, as a side point, let me just mention, of course, I've done this before. I practiced this in advance. This is actually the fourth time I've done it in the last 3 days. Every time that I've done this, even though I gave it not so much this one, but the two of the times that I gave it like word for word exactly the same prompt, it didn't give me exactly the same information, and it made up a new company name each time. So it had some variation each time that I did this. And some of the text here, the mission is not quite the same as I did before. So it's being very imaginative and not just rehashing the same content over and over and over. And as Copilot continues to learn with the outset information that's out on the web, it continues to refine its responses. So here's my target audience, number of different things, unique market edge, and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and take all that information. All right, start down here with my little company name. Again, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste, copy that into the clipboard. Don't forget that bit. And I'm going to add that to my Word document that started with. All right. So I could do that. I could just add that to the document that I've already created, or what I could do is go ahead and create another Word document. So I'll separate the original research from this proposal. Okay. So I'm going to call this my training, let's call it the training product concept, right? And it again has been saved into OneDrive. All right, so far so good. Might not want to forget to just go over here and take a look at OneDrive. I'll come over to the apps, make sure my files are there, jumping down to OneDrive. And there's my product training concept, my Copilot training research just done a few minutes ago. For the things that I did earlier for advanced Excel features and so forth, but that's looking pretty good for what I wanted to do. All right. Now let's say I want to go a little bit further with this. All right. Let's say I want to go a little bit further with this. So I'm going to go back to my Copilot here, and I'll say display that data in a more concise manner. So it says, oh, you don't want all that text. How about that? Okay, that's not too bad. That could be, scroll down, it's got a little bit shorter. I don't think that's so bad. I think I might go ahead and use that just to make sure that I'm not missing that concise version of it. So I'll go ahead and paste that in. All right. Let me think here. Some more things that I want to learn about. So maybe I want a Copilot to help me. How about draft a 30-second, how about a 30-second radio spot, radio ad? Or how about be more specific? Draft the text for 30-second radio ad. Ad has only one D. And there we go. I've got a 30-second radio ad. Looking for smarter, more inclusive. I won't read it all to you. So I'll just make sure I'm labeling it. Well, maybe about expand that to a 1-minute ad. Okay. You'll notice since I didn't click the keep, it figures I'm wanting to alter what it originally created. And then I can say, oh yeah, that's not too bad. No, I think I like the first one better. Yeah. So let's keep the 30-second version. Okay. And I'm back to my original one. I think I'll keep it. You might note a lot of this is ad lib. I have some notes that I started with, but some of those last things, the 30-second change to a minute, change back, I didn't know what it was going to do. It did exactly what I kind of expected it to. So let me keep on going. All right, let's keep going. How about if we change the target audience? Let's see, what did I want to do? Oh, yeah, so it includes age related. Okay. I don't think I spelled audience right. Audience. Age related training points. Okay, let's see what it comes up with that. Okay. Probably should have given myself a little bit more space there, but I can go ahead and grab those boosts. I'll just leave them as they are. I could go up and replace the target audience with those. Maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Maybe I'll go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and grab those. Cut that into the clipboard, replace these guys. Come on, one more. All right. So you can kind of tweak it as you go along. That's the idea here. And so Microsoft 365 Copilot, whether you're on the Copilot homepage or you're in Word, it can streamline the creation, the revision of your documents. All right. It has a number of dynamic tools for refining the language. I won't do it right now, but I could turn this whole thing into a poem if I wanted to. I've done that a few times, and it came out actually pretty well. So I have this thing saved. Of course, it's saving automatically because it's saved in OneNote. So as you edit, you don't have to worry about clicking the save button because it's saving on the fly. All right. But now what I want to do is I want to take these two documents, my research document and my product concept, and I want to start to create a PowerPoint presentation that I will use. So let me go back to Copilot once again. There's a couple of different ways I could do this. I could say something like, let me come back over here. I could, start to, I won't do it right now, but I could say, create a PowerPoint, et cetera. All right. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and start up PowerPoint right here from the get-go. PowerPoint. Yes. Not yes. PowerPoint. New. That's better. So I've got PowerPoint Online starting up. Okay, and it's asking me right away, because PowerPoint and Copilot are incorporated together, or I should say Copilot is incorporated into PowerPoint, it's got this little prompt that I have right here. Now I can create a new presentation, or I can create a new presentation with a file. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on that. It's asking me, there's the last few things that I did. I'm going to go ahead and include the training concept and the training product research. Oh no, that's the one right there. I want to include the research. Come on, my mouse over there. Yeah, it's not picking it up. I think what I will do is just come back over here to our training research, grab that link again. Come back here, put a little comment in just to make sure it's separated, and it picks up both of those. All right. So that's a good place to start. It's going to take information from both of those. Okay, so there's my content that's putting together for me. I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I think those are looking pretty good. If I didn't like those, I could make some adjustments, maybe, I only wanted this many slides or that many slides, but that's not a bad place to start. All right. I'm going to go ahead and click generate the slides. By the way, Copilot is improving, as you might imagine, almost on a daily basis. When I first prepped this class, this operation wasn't here. I couldn't do this. There was no generate the slides. It would create the outline for me, but just in the last couple of weeks since I've done this, they've added this feature. Or maybe I just missed it. I'm not sure. But I tried it several times, couldn't get the slides to create, but now here they are. Still putting the slides together. Picking out a design. Thank you, Copilot. Okay, so here I am in slide sorter view in PowerPoint Online. So I'm liking it. I think I'll go ahead and keep it. If I didn't like it, I could then prompt it to do something else. Maybe say I only want 5 slides, or I don't want any bullets, or use this particular one. So this particular design. So I'm out of slide sorter mode. I'm going to go ahead and jump into editing, the editing view. And you'll notice as I pull this up into displaying the notes panel, that it has not only created the slides for me, but it's just given me some starter content for my notes. Each of the slides, or just about all the slides, has content in my notes panel. Now, you probably wouldn't want to just read it as is, but it's not a bad place for us to start in regards to that. All right, but there's a little bit more that I want to do. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, let me think about this. How about if I add 2 more slides? All right, 2 more slides, plural, and I want to detail detailing potential challenges. Okay, that this new product may face. Let's include a slide that outlines key strategies to solve these challenges. Yes, something like that. All right. So it's going to say, okay, let's check out this. It's thinking about it. Hello. Let's go forward. Oh. I don't know what this is about. Let's get this part. Let's go on. Oh, let's go back to here. There's where we wanted to be. Okay. I don't know who Mona is, by the way. Haven't spoken to her recently. Okay, did it do it? Yeah, here it comes. Okay, so here's my title and my slides. There's a couple extras. Oh, this is actually the whole thing. Yeah, this looks like it's the whole thing, and including some additional content. So I can take any part of this if I wanted to. Now, you'll notice that it says draft the slide for copy paste. Then I can move forward and say, okay, suggest visuals or summarize the key points. Maybe I'll summarize the key points. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. One thing I noticed, by the way, and this is just as Copilot continues to evolve, there isn't a button that says turn this into a slide. It gave me the outline. So if I wanted to maybe put a new slide right here, I could go ahead and go to the home page, add a new slide, and then copy and paste the content. I'm anticipating any day now that there'll be a button added in these prompts to say turn these into slides. I just don't see it today. So it's continuing to get better. Sometimes, depending on what my prompts are, it'll say, would you like a budget on this? Would you like a timeline? Do you want us to deal with legal issues? If I was doing I did a building project in one of my practice sessions, and it said, you're going to need to know about building codes in the area. Where are you building? I told it, and it actually accessed the building, the building codes, the publicly available building codes for that town, and told me what permits I was going to need, and all those things, all of that stuff it was including. It also created a Gantt chart and a number of other things like that. So Copilot is still, like I said, still evolving, but it's doing, frankly, even like I said, just even a better job now, markedly better than it was 2 weeks ago. And I thought it was pretty cool 2 weeks ago as well. All right, how are we doing here? Let me just check and see if there's anything that I need to be covering here as I'm going along. Looking for, nope, I think I'm okay with that. So looking to see if there were any questions that were not being answered. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe change the name of this thing. All right. Change it to training presentation. All right. Sounds good. Oh, maybe Copilot. Give it credit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close all of those 3 files that I was in. All right. Do a little refresh here. There's the presentation 2, which is going to be renamed here in a moment. I hope I thought I renamed it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, there it is. This wasn't renamed in the, it hadn't refreshed. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get out of OneDrive and come back here. You can see the previous prompts that I had are in the conversations, which if I wanted to go back to those, like if I wanted this one again, I could go ahead and click on it and then it would run that again. Or if I'm finished with it, easy enough for me just to delete it. I won't take the time to delete all those right now. All right. But now I'm back to the home page and want to go a little bit further because sometimes there's specific information that I want Copilot to use. All right. And that's where I'm going to be building an agent where I want to isolate, not just grabbing everything from the entire world, but specific information that I want it to use, whether it be internal or external. All right. But the idea is that we want to limit what Copilot is drawing from. So I'm going back to the page. And in the agents, excuse me, in the agents selection, I'm going to expand that out and I'm going to go ahead and create an agent right here, down here on the home, on the navigation bar. So it's getting into agent mode again, or agent mode here. All right. So it says here, I'm ready to build an agent. It can be a number of things. So I'm going to go ahead and give it my initial information. I'm going to say you are a virtual assistant. For our training team. The role is to help with, let's see here. We want to develop popular, something like that. All right. I'll say be concise, stay on brand, stay on brand, our brand preferably, and reference our shared resources when possible. Okay. Something to that effect. Once I've given it some initial information, it's going to think for a bit. Working on it up here in the upper right corner. Okay, so there's my initial description of it. All right, it's got some initial content, but I want to do some more configuring of it because I want to tell it exactly what information it's going to be using. So I'll go ahead and click on configure. I'm not using an agent template, but I'm going to give it a better name than just new agent. How about Thursday morning on the West Coast, training agent on training. How about that? Yeah, Thursday morning agent, that will be sufficient. All right. Don't need to worry about a description right now. I'm going to scroll on down. Okay. Think about what kind of knowledge it wants. So it could be files that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my files. All right. These could be files from a variety of different things. You can see there's information all over the map here. But I can also, once again, I'll go ahead and I think it's still in the clipboard. Yeah, my that is the link for that initial training file. Oh, and he didn't do that. That's interesting. I'm not sure why. They were supported last week. I think it might be under maintenance. Yesterday, there was some maintenance going on and something was disabled. I'm guessing that's going to be an issue just today, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. So let me go a little bit further with that. All right. Let me go over to some sites. All right. There's a SharePoint training site right there. I'll go ahead and click on that. I don't know what that's about. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, what else can I put in here? You can see a number of different things I can select, all right, as far as titles and messages and so forth. But I'm going to go ahead and, wasn't the best timing, well, to do a little training, little maintenance on us right now. But I'm going to go up to, let me just jump over here. I'm going to grab a site that I'm part of. Yeah, no, thanks, not right now, whatever that is. I don't want to worry about it. So here's the SharePoint site. I'm going to go ahead and grab the information. Just grab the home link for that site, come back to Copilot, see if it'll let me do that. There it is. Okay, so it did add it. It's on the list, right? As it turns out, that Copilot or that SharePoint site does have a, I clicked on it. That's not it. We go back to being too quick here, clicking while it's still refreshing the screen. So from previous training that I had done a couple of days ago, it's got some of that same information, the product concept, the research, and the PowerPoint, just in case I had a little issue with this. All right, so it's picking up that from the SharePoint site. And under normal circumstances, just today, probably if I tried in half an hour, it's going to work. But just this one time, it's not letting me grab those files from OneDrive for one reason or another. I don't know why. But once I've got the information, once I've put in the files, the links to the files, the SharePoint sites, or other external content, whatever I wanted to add to the agent, I can then go ahead and put that in and then click Create. So the configure part is where I tell the agent what information I want to include. I could also put in that I wanted to let it go, outside, but that comment that I made earlier allowed it to go outside of my specific information. So now I'm in my Thursday morning agent. I still have access to, normal Copilot, just general prompts for general Copilot content, but I have this Thursday morning agent available to me now, which I just created. And now I can do, things like, again, maybe I want to do, let's see, create, let's say 5 bullets on a new training class that will be conducted online for seniors. Since we talked about age-related things, it's probably going to draw from that information, and there are my 5 bullets. Now, again, I didn't tell it what kind of training, so it's kind of still rather general, but it gave me information that I needed to know. And so that's the idea of an agent, is rather than drawing from a much wider range of information, I can get it to narrow down to either my own files or the files in my company or the files in a particular site or, under normal circumstances, the files in my OneDrive. But probably more likely would be your SharePoint sites or other corporate related content. And I can have the agent then specifically point to those particular things. All right. So whatever my prompts are will be available there. And then one last thing just to point out, and see if I can get this here. I have an option of sharing my agent. If I think my agent's like just bee's knees, that's a term, exceptionally good, then I can share it with other people within within my domain, within my organization, and then they will be able to make use of it as well. And if I give them further permission, they can actually continue training that agent by adding in information that they have available. And so the agent will continue learning by the other people's involvement in it. All right. Saxton, I think I'm going to turn things over to you. And let me go ahead and get into your slide. Saxton's one of my coworkers, director of strategic growth. So I'll go ahead and close out my participation here. And Saxton, if you want to take over, you are welcome to it. So
awesome. Thank you, Will. Thank you for going through that, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Just wanted to talk a little bit about some additional initiatives we have here at EnterOne to help your Copilot journey, whether that be some curated trainings, some enablement programs, as well as just a digital learning platform. We have a few resources here that can simplify and kind of cut through some of the noise that you're hearing with all of the different AI buzzwords and different solutions out there for you today. So with that, Will, if you could please go to the next slide, we'll dive right in. Awesome. So at EnterOne, we have put together something that we are calling Copilot road mapping. The goal here is to help your enablement and with our enablement to help you adopt AI where you're at currently in your journey. So we've tried to put something together for everyone from the fundamentals standpoint all the way up to the more mastery level of skills for your more technical focused employees, with the goal of helping you embrace and adopting generative AI, understanding and embracing AI as a whole, and making sure that you're plugged into the most efficient and effective way possible to utilize it for not only your organization as a whole, but for your users and their specific use cases as well. So what we've done here again is we offer complimentary consultations to do kind of an analysis on your business, understand where you're at in your AI journey, and then plug in relevant trainings and resources to, again, help drive specific opportunities and specific areas to help you measure growth with AI without having to do the guesswork and maybe take a training that's not necessarily relevant to your role or to your company's role. So we'll meet you kind of where you're at in your AI journey. So to break that down a little further, we can go ahead and go to the next slide here. So what we've done is we've broken this roadmap out into 5 different levels. So you'll see here, level 1 will be focused on awareness. Level 2 will be more foundational. Level 3 will start to deep dive into Copilot. Level 4 will get more specific to use cases for different users in your company. And then level 5 will be more of that technical mastery. So you'll see here, there are suggested courses that we offer aligned with each of these levels. These are suggestions, but they're not necessarily the only option you have. So that's where we recommend that discovery call with our team to understand your exact areas of need and to help kind of plug in more prescriptive roadmaps for you there. But following these 5 levels, if you just wanted to understand what trainings work as from a larger perspective for those, these will be available towards you. The other piece I want to mention on this is, though these are set scheduled courses, we are able to customize this for you too. So if you see from AI 3024 and NMS 4004 that there are a couple modules or different focus areas there that may make sense that you want to combine, we can look at custom delivery opportunities for you too that meet your exact needs. So we can do scoping calls to understand those things and then look to deliver pieces of these, again, specific to your business needs, all focused on helping you adopt and understand AI and utilize it to grow your business in an efficient and effective way. So the biggest piece that is great about this program is the accelerated user adoption. Again, AI, I think we probably hear it 100 times a day in multiple different areas, different vendors, things like that. So what we want to focus on here is making sure that you have the correct information that suits your organization, again, to make sure that we're cutting through the noise, we're accelerating that user adoption and giving you a faster time to value for your generative AI investment. And again, EnterOne is here as a support system as well as offering these trainings to you. So we'll help you understand what makes the most sense for you and beyond. But again, that all starts with that kind of analysis call that we'll leave my information for, that you can reach out and we can get those sorts of things scheduled. But these will be left behind. We'll have some follow-up content for you as well that will have more information on this program, have these direct links to these trainings and my information to follow up with. And again, this is our Copilot road mapping initiative. So if we could please go to the next slide. Another awesome initiative we're rolling out is our EnterOne Empowered platform. Our parent company, Trainicate, has put this together, and we now have access to it as well. So this is going to be a way for you to digest short-form content, whether it's webinars like this, whether it's other AI-specific or Microsoft-specific short-form videos or on-demand trainings. We will house that for free on this site for you to go back and review or to take advantage of moving forward at any time that you see fit. They will also suggest specific courses that align to the short form content too. So a great way, again, to help continue to cut through that noise and be prescriptive with the different areas of focus for you and your teams. So this link will be sent out as well. But again, a ton of Microsoft focus information here for you to digest as much as you want and whenever you'd like. And again, this is completely free. So keep an eye on this too. Today's webinar will go onto this platform if you want to revisit any of Will's demos or information that he shared today or anything we're covering now. And we'll continue to put that information here as well as some areas that we'll follow up with. So again, you can register your account for free using the QR code or the link that will be provided after the training. But more to come on this platform, but we're very excited to launch this and give everybody the opportunity to train on their own schedule as well. And again, get some suggestions in terms of focus areas that we can help add trainings onto. Awesome. Next slide, please, Will. Awesome. So with that, we'd like to open up the floor to questions. If you have any of those, please put them in the Q&A and we'll be sure to answer those now. If you would like, you can follow us on social for LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. A lot of our content will be posted there as well. We are asking everyone who joined the session today to fill out our short feedback form that will allow us to enhance our sessions moving forward and also give us some information on ways we can potentially help you in your Copilot journey moving forward. We will have our recorded session today on our landing page that most of you probably saw when you registered for the course. We will also have our next Copilot webinar series session available to register for that will be a great add-on to what we covered today. So please feel free to register for that and share it with your teams. All of our future sessions will also go onto that form. So we plan to do this Copilot series for around 6 months. So keep an eye on that, bookmark it. We'll send out communications around it. And of course, let us know if you have any questions in the meantime on content that was covered or anything that we've talked through today. And then finally, that EnterOne Empowered platform, that will take you out to the short form content platform I mentioned. And all of the specific Microsoft content will be on that direct link there for you as well. And finally, you'll have my contact info there. Please reach out for the analysis session. We'd love to get in contact and just understand where your business focuses are, maybe your pain points, and help you again drive your adoption of AI in this very, very busy world that we live in today. So allow us to help cut through the noise, as I mentioned before, help us be as strategic as possible with you and your specific needs. And if there's a custom opportunity, let's discuss that as well. But this will be left behind for you all. Again, thank you so much for joining the session today. We'll stay on for a few more minutes here and answer any questions that funnel into the Q&A. But with that, we hope to see you on our next session in November on the 24th. Thank you, Will, again, for your awesome presentation. Anything else you'd like to mention before we close as well?
No, thank you, Saxton. No, that was great.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, look out for some follow-up content from us. And again, this will be sent out. Please reach out if you need anything or would like to connect. And we will hope to talk to you all soon.